What's up, you guys? My name is Preston James, and you are listening to The Reflection, where we do just that for ourselves and our community so that we may lead a healthier, more positive, and productive lifestyle. Welcome back to The Reflection, everybody. I hope you all are doing amazingly well. As I say every single time, hopefully got a chance to listen to my previous episode with the producer, Memo 71. It was a really good episode. We're going to talk about music and production because that's how I met him initially. He was interested in the studio, so he came by to check it out. We chopped it up, and then I was like, oh, I'd love to interview you for my podcast. And yeah, it just went down a whole different road and path, and I thought it was a great thing, and we could have kept talking for hours. So that was definitely a fun podcast, little out of pocket, I guess. I don't even know what the pocket is, to be honest, right? But it definitely touched on life, taking chances, risks, pursuing the thing that you want to pursue, and just being happy, doing what you want to do in this life. So if you have a chance, please check that out. And then previously, before that, was Fixed versus Growth Mindset, which I was very happy to see that, who is it? I think they're called Masterclass. The people who do all those masterclasses, right? They have all the famous people on there, but they just came out with the new Masterclass. I know the one they're really pushing is the one with the CIA, which I actually do want to watch. I haven't watched any of them, but I kind of want to see that one. But they have one on Fixed versus Growth Mindset with Carol Dweck and Steve Young, the quarterback. And I thought that was interesting because I just released that podcast, and you know, that's my a thread that runs deep in this podcast, and so I thought that was kind of cool. So maybe I'll check that one out as well. I just encourage you all to maybe check it out. Not, obviously this isn't a paid promotion, but just check it out because maybe it will benefit you, and hearing things from somebody else other than myself and the people around you could really turn that key for you. And maybe that's all you needed to hear or see to get you to where you want to be. I just rhymed. That was cool. But like I said, or like I always say, do what you got to do to get to where you want to be so you can do what you want to do. And maybe that's it for you. But anyways, I do hope you guys are all doing well. I hope you are pursuing your goals, taking a step little by little. I was talking to Vanessa today about writing things down and just having our list, and she feels lost without her list. And so it's really hard for her to get stuff done at work without her list. Obviously, she still gets it done, but it's a lot less organized. So if you are one of those types of people, please make a list. There's nothing wrong with that. Please make your list and do what you got to do. I am going to start making lists. I think it's a lot better. I do have a checklist, a mental checklist that I do for any artists that come into the studio that I record. So it definitely does help to write things down. But if you can remember it and organize it in your head and be consistent with it, really just whatever works for you. So yes, please reach out to me at thereflection.pj@gmail.com or on YouTube at thereflection_PJ. Let me know how you're doing with your goals and your dreams and on that chase and on that pursuit. Please, I hope you all are really pursuing these things. I really, really, truly do. I want everyone to live the fullest and most fulfilled life that they possibly can and be happy. Most of all, be happy. I had a person at work today ask me, why are you always happy? And I told them, why not? Right? People ask me that. They've asked me that throughout my whole life. And this podcast, I talk about some of the reasons why, how I stay so positive and happy is because I do live by a lot of these things I talk about. I really see the world that way, and it really depends on how you view the world and yourself. It really, really does. And this episode is no different. And as you know and could see from the title, we're talking about fear and self-doubt. Those can creep in and really get us and cripple us in so many ways in our life. So I really wanted to tackle that. I was going to do this one called a work and life balance, workplace and life balance. And then I started doing it and I was like, I don't want to do this. It didn't feel right. And if I'm not in it and involved and really believe in it, then I'm not going to do it. I don't believe you should do that with anything unless you absolutely have to. Absolutely have to. So I was like, no. So I searched around and I wanted to do this. I think this is a big one, and a lot of people can relate to this because I definitely can. And I feel like, we're all swimming about in this world together. So fear and self-doubt. What is fear? What is fear? It's an unpleasant emotion that arises in response to perceived dangers or threats. That last part I want to say again, in response to perceived dangers or threats. These fears can cause physiological and psychological changes. For example, sweating, fast heart rate, paranoia, aggression, et cetera, et cetera. So fear can be debilitating and crippling in a lot of ways, right? Especially when something that we are anxious about is happening or we're fearful of, and it just starts to creep in. Like, and I'll probably bring this up again, but like giving a public speaking, that's one for a lot of people. But maybe your palms get sweaty, you start getting all red. I know that for me, when I get super, not even fearful, but like anxious and like excited and ready for stuff, my face gets red. So for numerous reasons, fear, anxiety, whatever it may be, my face, I know I can feel it get red. And so that's one of the tells for me for sure that I'm hyping up, I'm getting up. Maybe you have your own tells that you can tell. Man, I'm on it today, aren't I? So I don't know if you can. Maybe you don't know and you're not aware of the things that happen when you get anxious like that, or when it's fear, being able to identify that fear. Maybe that's your journey. Maybe that's the next thing you want to find out. But yeah, fear can cause the fight or flight response, right? The fight or flight response in us that we have when something arises. We either fight or we flight. We take off. Quick story is that I was in St. John, which is by St. Thomas, the island, the Virgin Islands. And I was with a friend of mine, and she was swimming, and we were swimming, I guess. We were swimming, and we were at this beach, and we were about, I don't know, a couple hundred feet out, maybe 100 feet, maybe 200 at the most. But anyways, we were looking down into the water, and we're looking at the turtles. They're coming up swimming next to us. It was really cool. Never been to a beach as nice as St. John to this day. St. John is amazing. If you ever get a chance, please check it out. It's gorgeous. And it's just a ferry ride across from St. Thomas, which is like a super touristy area. But we were looking at the turtles, looking at the fish, looking down. And it's a pretty far ways down, but you can see the ocean floor. And it's close to the beach, right? So it's like, I don't know how to describe it. Yeah, but there's a lot of things going on there. A lot of fish, a lot of turtles, whatever. So we're looking down, having fun, having about, and I see a shark at the bottom, and he's just cruising. He's cruising at the bottom, and I was like, oh, hell fucking no. I'm out. So I panic. You talk about this fight or flight. Flight kicked in so fast. I'm not fighting a shark. That's not our world. We don't have gills. If we were supposed to be in the water, we would have gills. That's why I won't go scuba diving. I just won't do it. We all have those things in life, and that is one of my things. I will not go scuba diving. Like I said, we don't have gills. We're not supposed to be in the water like that. So I saw that shark, and I took off so fast, and I left her behind. I know it's fucked up. It really is fucked up. I know. To this day, I regret it, because it was just like, I think it was a bull shark or a nurse shark. No, not a nurse. I think it was a bull shark or a nurse shark. Anyways, it was about 4 to 5 feet. So it was pretty big. And if you saw it, you'd be like, oh shit, that's a giant shark. And that's their world. And so I panicked. Flight kicked in, not the fight, the flight kicked in, and I was out. I got back to shore so fast, and she like didn't even know what was happening. Again, felt bad, but that's definitely what happened. So fight or flight response, things like that will happen. I'm sure that you guys have had things that have happened to you that you have had that fight or flight response. So that's where fear kicks in. And so what is doubt? What is self-doubt? It's a lack in self-confidence and in one's own abilities. A lack in your self-confidence and one's own abilities. I think one of the reasons I'm so happy-go-lucky, and seem that way is because I feel confident with who I am as a person. I sleep well at night. I try not to ever lie, so I'm not like battling with myself on a daily basis of trying to keep up a lie anywhere. I feel true to myself and who I am and what I believe in and what I think. Kind to people. I don't stir the pot. At least I try not to. That's kind of inevitable sometimes. But I think that's one of the reasons, right? So I'm confident in myself, and I'm confident with my own abilities. I doubt myself. I definitely doubt myself. And we're going to talk about some of the people who think that is actually a sign of progress and a way to success. We're going to talk about some of these philosophers that think that way, but I definitely doubt it on a daily basis. I was telling someone a while ago when I started the studio, I was like, I doubt it every single day. It's so nerve-wracking opening a business and trying to do something you've never done before and just going out on a limb and taking a loan out, putting all this, investing all this money and time away from your family, money from your pockets, from your future, and really going all in towards your dream and your goal and in something you've never done, which is a business. Music I've done most of my life, but music and business I have not. So I had to learn certain things along the way, and I'm still learning. And I still doubt on a daily basis. I maneuver it and I think through it, but I still doubt. And we're going to talk about what Socrates thinks of that as well. So doubt, a lack in self-confidence and in one's own ability. Together, there are two things. These are two things that create a mental barrier, and it holds us back from so many things in life. Fear and self-doubt. It creates a mental barrier and holds us back from all these different things and opportunities that life has to offer. This hits directly back to two episodes that come to mind, and that's fixed versus growth mindset and taking chances / risk analysis. These types of things and this type of thing, these types of ways of thinking, these different types of ways of thinking are what gives us the ability to have a more fulfilling life, a happier life, a more educated life. I truly believe this, and I wish some people would take that chance and take that risk and go fuck around and find out. Fuck around and find out. Because you're definitely not going to be losing, right? You might be losing some funds, but you definitely will have that experience in your life. And it's only going to help you progress and succeed to something better further down the road, right? Bigger, better, badder, whatever, however you see that. But it's definitely not going to hurt you. Like I said, maybe your pockets. But today I want to talk about certain ways of thinking about these things and how we can go about it to live that more fulfilling life and become a better person overall. I want to talk about a couple philosophers and philosophies that argue that fear and doubt are not signs to stop, but signals of growth. They're philosophies that argue that fear and doubt, these things I've been talking about for the last few minutes, are not signs to stop what you're doing, but rather signals of growth and signals to keep going and pushing through and persevere, as we talk about on most of the episodes. First off, I want to talk about Socrates. Lived in 399 BC or 400 BC. That's 400 years before Christ. That was a long time ago, very long time ago. But Socrates looked at his view encompassed an approach that embraced uncertainty. His approach, his philosophy, his view embraced uncertainty and questioned the idea of fear. You embrace this uncertainty, which is fearful, is scary for all of us. It gives us a little bit of fear, right? The uncertainty, not knowing. But he embraced that. That was his philosophy, to embrace that and question your fears. His whole approach to everything was to question everything. If you've read any Socrates, you know this. Question everything. He believed that if you do this, you do more self-inquiry, you inquire more about yourself, you can dismantle your own fears. When you analyze your doubts, I know this to be the case for myself, so I know it's true with a lot of you, but when you analyze your own doubts, you will often find that they are based on assumptions rather than facts. Tell me that's not true. It's more about assumptions rather than facts. You can dismantle your own fears by breaking things down rationally and logically and thinking through it and saying, why am I scared? This is crazy. What's the worst going to happen to me if I stand up and give a speech? I feel embarrassed. Are these people going to remember the next day? Maybe, but what about the day after that? Probably not. And the day after that, most definitely not. Unless you bring it up and are in their face and talking about it. But we think that these people, it's going to be like this stain of their and your existence. Like they're going to be thinking about it every single day, being like, ha ha, pointing the finger and just laughing at you and be like, you failed, you sucked at this, you were terrible, you should never do that again. And just like a constant point of the finger like in your face. I think we feel like that sometimes. It's that fear, right? Like I know we have that. But that brings me on to the next philosopher and the next philosophy, and that's Seneca, who lived around 50 AD, so 50 years after Christ, or after death. And his whole thing was fear is worse than the actual reality. Fear is worse than reality, like I just said. He said that we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. We come up with these things. We suffer more in the thought of that thing I just described, as somebody pointing the finger and laughing and thinking about you all the time and how terrible you were. We fantasize about that in our imagination, and we kind of hone in on that, and that is what kind of fucks us up. Makes us sideways, makes us think sideways, right? But he says that we often suffer more in that idea than we actually do in real life, in reality. And I know that to be true, and I know that you all know that too. Now, are there some things that have happened that you were super embarrassed and it happened just the way you thought? I'm sure there's at least one. But you're here in this moment right now, and you're okay. And you're fine, and your life is just fine, and you keep it moving. You've kept it moving. So what's to stop you from doing something, taking a risk or that chance now or the next day? Right? You're just going to keep building that fear, having that self-doubt, like I'm not good enough, or I'm fearful of people, the way they're going to look at me or judge me, or what they're going to think. You will have less of a fulfilling life you will and I will, if we continue to think that way. If we continue to think that way, we're not going to accomplish anything. We're just going to be stuck in our little box, our little safe zone. And then we're going to be 75 years old on the verge of dying, and looking back and saying, why did I do that? Why did I think that way? Because I know for a fact that we know this too, for a fact, not an imagination, that older people, don't give a fuck. They do not care. They're just like, whatever. It is what it is. They're just like, right? Because they've lived through it. They've been through it. Now there's obviously exceptions out there, but we know those older people are just like, no, it doesn't matter. I should have done X, Y, and Z. And they try to pass down that information, but a lot of us don't listen, especially when we're younger. We think we got it all figured out. But most fears, he says, exist in the mind and not actually in reality. Right? And I've talked about stoicism, daily life. I think it was, stoicism for daily life. But going back to that, it teaches us that we should accept the unknown and focus only on what we can control. So if people are going to laugh and things like that are going to happen, that's out of our control. So we don't have anything to do with that. That's not on us. So if it's out of our control, why are we so worried about it, right? Our imagination, like we can see what people are going to do and how they're going to think and what they're going to say. We focus on that, and we build up this fear and this self-doubt, right? It kind of plays off of one another. It's reciprocated. I'm fearful of this, so now I think I can't do it, or I'm not good enough. Like I said, starting a business, the fear of failure, of not succeeding. I definitely don't have as many clients as I need to have a lucrative future in this. I'm probably going to have to move studios when the lease is up in February. But that's okay. I'm not worried about that. I've been talking to Vanessa about it, and we already have a plan in place. I'm already setting things up. I'm already putting things in motion. I'm still advertising. I'm still putting word of mouth out. I'm selling merch. I'm doing all these things to be successful here at this studio. But if it's not successful here, that's okay. We move on to the next thing. We keep pushing, we keep going. It's not going to stop. Why would I do that? Why would I stop something that I love to do? That's why I encourage you all to do something that you love to do, because it doesn't feel like work. Your passion, your dreams, it feels like fulfillment, like it feeds your soul. And feeding your soul, why would you ever want to malnourish your soul? Right? You don't want to malnourish your body. Why would you do that to your soul? So the fear of failure is definitely a common thing. We all know that, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the other thing. People think there's something wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. We have to accept that. That's out of our control. But the things that are in our control, if we keep pushing, if I keep doing the things that I'm doing to make this business successful and get more clients in here, then I go to sleep peacefully, soundly, because I'm doing the things I know that I can do to get to where I want to be. And other than that, it's out of my control. So I'll keep pushing and keep moving. That's it, right? The fear is more often, worse than the failure itself. The fear of failure, Seneca talks about, is often it's worse than the failure itself. So you're thinking about it, the way you visualize it and embody it is more often worse than the actual failure itself. Even if you don't succeed at that business or at that store or that speech, you gain experience and knowledge and you apply that moving forward. That should make you happy, right? My middle school kids always give each other a hard time because they don't know something. It's like, how are you supposed to know everything, right? That's what I don't get when people are like, you didn't know that? It's like, you don't know something until you know it. You don't know everything. So back up, right? And people assume you should know certain things at a certain place in your life. And it's like, that's not true. Give people a break. If they weren't taught it and they don't know it, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Listen to one of an artist I like. His name is A$AP Rocky, and I posted a meme, a little video that he says, when has it been not cool to try in society? When have we been knocking them down for trying something, for giving it a shot, their best shot? Hit me with your best shot. But when have we ever, in history of mankind, thought it wasn't cool to try? That sounds crazy to me. And so when you don't try and you're just hiding behind this self-doubt and this fear of failure and fear itself, it just doesn't make sense. Again, like Socrates says, when you really dismantle this and you do this self-inquiry, you really figure out that there's not much to be fearful of. There's not a lot you should have a lot of doubt about with yourself. We're all human beings. Everyone's got something going on. Everyone's got something about themselves they don't like. Things happen to us. People lose limbs. They have surgeries. They have all these different things, but that's the journey. And a lot of those things are out of our control. It's uncertain, but we must move with confidence. We must move with certainty that we will progress, we will succeed, and that we will be victorious with whatever it is that we do. And we will be happy because we are doing the thing that we want to do and set out to do, because we do not give up. We do try. We try and we try again. Get yourself up and try again, right? Aaliyah. But my next person is Marcus Aurelius. He says to use fear as a tool. Marcus Aurelius was around 150 AD. 150 AD. Says if your fear comes from something outside of you, right? If it's outside of your body, outside of your existence, or if it's outside of its external pain, that pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of that pain. You're thinking about that pain. Same idea behind the last couple of people I've talked about. What Seneca's saying about you failing is more in your head than it is actually failing. This pain is your estimate of the pain and what it will be like rather than what it is like or what it is. When we really think about that, peel back those layers, we know that that's true. So I want you guys to really sit on this and think about this moving forward into the next day, the next time you set out to do something, to achieve something, to try something. Think about this. Your fear of that, of this pain, of this failure is more in your head than it is of actual existence and being. This thinking that Marcus Aurelius is talking about and Seneca mentioned is something that is in your control. We talk about all these things that's not in our control or in your control, but this type of thinking, the way that you think and perceive certain things is in your control. He says that fear is a perception and not a fact. It's how you perceive things. It's a perception, not a fact. And so thus, if we change how we view and challenge fear, we will see things completely different. We will see the world different, the things we do differently, and approach things differently in a more positive, fulfilling way. What I've heard before in certain PDs at work or just in different times and places of my life is just filling your cup, making sure your cup is full, right? Your cup starts out full during the day and it tips out a little bit throughout the day. You just have to make sure that cup doesn't empty. And I feel like fear and self-doubt make you start the day with your glass half full. I'm sorry, half empty. And that's that old saying, is your glass half full or is it half empty? That's your perception, right? My glass is always half full. Depends on how you see things. Another example of this is a musician who doubts their talent. If a musician doubts that talent, they can either view mistakes as proof they should quit. If they doubt their talents, they can either view this as proof that they should quit or as part of the process. Part of the process, part of the progress. The same with the writer, same with the painter, same with an engineer, same with the builder, same with any type of artistry, professional, job, whatever, any type of profession. Same idea. Your perception of these things, it all matters. And one of my favorites, Friedrich Nietzsche, 19th century philosopher. He says that self-doubt is a step to greatness. It is a step towards greatness. His words really resonate with me, and I really embody some of the words and things that he has said and speaks of. I don't know how to give you a very clear image of why that is right now, but it definitely is the case every time I read him, and I feel sometimes I feel a sense of emptiness, but at the same time, fulfillment. Like I feel like I've learned a little bit more about myself and the world, and I like sink in my chair a little bit more, but at the same time, I rise up and stick my chest out because I understand that this is the journey of life, and understanding more of this is part of that journey. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if that did make sense, but understanding more of this life to what I see it as, right? Because as Socrates has said, I know nothing. I don't know anything, but understanding more things about myself and knowing and understanding that I know nothing, and the more I feel like I learn, the less I know. That is fulfilling to me. It doesn't leave me empty, and that's kind of my battle when I read Nietzsche, and it's fun for me, and it's liberating. Again, fulfilling. That's my word for the day: fulfillment. But he says that self-doubt is a step to greatness. Self-doubt is the part of the journey. It is a part of it. Whatever your journey is, self-doubt is part of the journey. So that if it's not happening, then you're not on a journey, I guess, which is kind of weird because I feel like everybody is. But it is in combination to those other things. All the things we've talked about. Seeing things as learning and progress. As we move forward, looking at the things that help build us and get us to where we want to be. We're getting better and better. That's what he's saying. He's saying that this journey requires failure itself, but it depends on how you look at that failure. He says that the way that you look at how you give a speech or how people react, how you view that whole event matters and is part of the part of the progress or process. How you even see it beforehand, how you're thinking about that speech is part of the process, right? Because you have that self-doubt and fear. Maybe after that self-doubt, the fear is over, but the self-doubt's still there. That's possible too. But he's saying that's part of the process. That's part of the progress. That's part of the journey. An example of this is a writer writing a book who questions their ability. They questions their ability to write a great book, who can see that this doubt is proof that they are deeply about their craft. Instead of stopping, they use it to refine and improve their work. This doubt is part of the process again. It's proof that you care about your craft, that you care about the thing that you are doing and pursuing. This doubt means you do care. But instead of stopping because of that fear and doubt, you use it to refine and improve your work, your skills, even your perception, the way you think about things. Improve that day by day, little by little. It's like a small task, small steps for a big journey. Like, I think it's Lao Tzu, one of those ancient Chinese philosophers. A journey of 1,000 steps starts with a single step. You have to perceive things as growth and progress and process, part of the process. And so in conclusion to this episode of fear and doubt, I want you to take away a couple things. I want you to take away the idea of questioning your fears. Are they real or are they imagined? Right? We talked about a few people, and that was Socrates. I want you to accept uncertainty. Fear exists more in our minds than in reality. Seneca. So question your fears, accept uncertainty, and know that it's all part of the process. I also want you, as I've talked about for the last few minutes, is change your perception. Try to change your perception. Fear is not an obstacle, rather, but a lesson. Marcus Aurelius. It is a lesson. It's a teacher. Another thing is take action despite your fear. Despite your fear, take action. The more you face fear, the weaker it becomes. The less and less. You're chipping away at it. That was Ralph Waldo Emerson, by the way. And lastly, I want you to use doubt as a tool. It means you care and are on the right path. That's from Nietzsche. And when I say you, I want you to. I want you to because I have learned to take this information from these great thinkers and philosophers and apply it to my life and yours. So I want to give you that gift, this knowledge to hopefully help make your life make you become a better person, to live a more fulfilling life. By integrating these philosophical insights or these philosophies, we can shift our mindset from fear and self-doubt to courage and confidence. And we can do it to encourage as well. But we rather have courage, have confidence in ourselves to make gains in areas that we really want to, in the pursuit of our dreams. Courage, encourage, and confidence. I hope you can take some away from this episode, as I hope so for all the other episodes as well. Again, please reach out to me at thereflection.pj@gmail.com or on YouTube at thereflection_PJ. Thank you guys. I love you guys. I hope you have an amazing week. an amazing evening, amazing day, whatever time of day it is for you. Stay positive. Please be aware of the people that are in your circle. Make sure you're surrounded by positivity and people who encourage you and support you and love you and don't bring you down and talk negative all the time and don't push you to be the best person you can be and chase after your dreams. Do not surround yourself with those people that will bring you down, give you more fear, give you more self-doubt, and will pull you away, further away from the thing that you really want to do. Again, my name is Preston James, and you're listening to The Reflection. Talk to you soon.